Welcome back to Library Choice YouTube channel. In today's class, we'll learn how to make this elegant spiral flounce. Okay, it's a very beautiful spiral detail, and we made this with layers of organza fabric. So I'll be taking you through the cutting and how to sew this to your fabric. It's very simple to make, and it is actually beginner friendly. You don't need to do too much to get this. If this is what you like to learn, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So to make this design, I'll be working with organza fabric, and you can either cut it in form of a flounce or you cut it like you're cutting your 360 degree flare. But I'll be cutting this in form of a flounce, and I already have my 4 points ruled like this. I just chose a place and then I ruled 4 points. So have this center point here, just one horizontal and one vertical. And after that, from the center point here, I measured 1 inch round, and then I made it into a full circle here. Okay, I don't want this video to be too long. I already have a full video on how to make a flounce on the channel. If you don't understand it, you may want to check that out for better understanding. So after this now, I'll just choose, we have 1 2 3 4. From our 4 points, I'll just choose 1 point there, and then I'll take my tape and measure ½ inch inwards like this, which is this. So after measuring my ½ inch on this first point, I'll move over to the next point, and then I'm going to divide, like sort of divide what I have here into two. So this is the midpoint of this particular center point. So now the next thing I'm going to do is on this midpoint that I marked, I'm going to mark the length of my flounce. That's the length you want to use. It can be 2 inches, it can be 3, it can be 4, depending on whatever it is that you want to use. So here I'm using like 3 inches. Okay, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using 3 inches length for my flounce. So from there now, I'll be marking my 3 inches all round. Okay, so I'm marking 3 inches all round now. But before I connect it, I want to join from this ½ inch here to my first 3 inches. So you can either use your free hand or you use a cup. So here I'll be using my free hand, and I'm connecting it from there to come and meet this. Okay, so from there now, I'll connect my 3 inches like this. So that is how you're going to be measuring your 3 inches to form your full flounce. So 3 inches will continue like that. So I'll measure 3 inches here, 3 inches here, 3 inches here, 3 inches here, like that, till I complete my full flounce. So like I said, if you don't understand this, you may want to check that video out on how to make a flounce. I measured 3 inches round now, and I've connected it. This is okay for the flounce that I want to work with. So now I'm going to cut this out, but I don't want to cut it out directly now. I want to place it on my organza to cut it out. So I'm just going to reduce the paper. Okay, then I'll place this on my organza to cut out. So to know the amount of flounce you will need, you just need to measure the area that you're going to be placing your flounce. So I'll be placing it from my front bodies to my back bodies here. Once you have that measurement, you measure your flounce starting from here that the cutting is going to stop. So you just measure what you have round. So like if you have 20 inches now, this is 20 inches, this will go round. But for that fullness, for that fluffy effect, you may want to multiply it by 2 so that you can pleat it a bit, so that that flounce can bounce. Okay, so I have excess here. This will allow me to pleat as much as I want. So I'll just stop it. I may concentrate on the front part just to show us what we are doing, because this is a tutorial and this is going to consume a lot of fabric. Okay, it's going to consume lots and lots of fabric depending on the amount of fabric that you have. So now I don't want to cut this out yet. I want to cut it on my organza directly so that it will be easy for me. Now this is the organza I'll be working with, and I've folded it into multiple piles of organza. Okay, so it's like in layers. I folded many together so that I can cut it together all at once. So I'm going to place this flounce on it now, and then I'm going to hold it with pins before I now cut everything out at once. So I've pinned it now, and and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'll cut out the flounce. So like I said, the length of the flounce depends on you. It doesn't have to be 3 inches like I use. So if you want it more than 3 inches, you can do more. So we've not started our flounce proper. I'm still cutting the edges. Okay. So my flounce starts from here. Let me just cut this off. Okay. So this is my actual flounce. Now I can cut it. Just follow the shape that you already have there. Cut it out. So after cutting this out now, you need to burn the edges. You know this is an organza fabric, and we all know that organza fabric frills. Okay. And I need to print that place so that it doesn't scatter. So that is basically how you're going to be cutting it. So you cut everything out. Sorry, I'm rushing this a bit. Okay. So now this is what we have. You can see how lovely. In fact, if you feel this now, you will see that it is lovely. So like I was saying, this frailing part now, you're going to burn it. Okay, so now we have our flounce like this. Like I was saying, we need to burn the edges of the flounce so that it will not be frailing. So I'm just going to take one of my flounce here. I can remove the paper now because I've cut it out. So I'm just going to take one edge, okay, like this. Then after taking it, let me reduce the lighting so that we'll see what I'm doing well. Okay. So now I'm using a candle for this. I've lighted my candle. You just take the edge of your organza and then you just use it to dab the light. If you don't put it inside too much, then you just take it around this like this. You take it around it like this. If you look at the edges, I don't know if you can see it well, it's no longer frailing. It has sealed these edges for me. So that is how you do for everything, or you can just take it to the serger and then serge it. So that is how you continue to use your candle to knit the edges for you. Now I've removed my paper, but I still hold it with pin so that the organza will be easier for me to work with. So like I was saying, depends on, this is 2 yards of organza. You can see how small it's looking. This is what 2 yards of organza gave me. So if you want to use this, you can even use as many as 10 to 20 yards of organza if you want it to be really full. But you know this is a tutorial, so I'm considering of just putting it in front so that at least we can see the fullness a bit. So I'm considering putting it just in front here. I'm just going to bring it from here up to the shoulder area, just in front, because I want to, if I want it to get to the back, it may not be so full. But this is what it's going to look like. Placing it like this is going to look like this. So you can see how beautiful it is. So this is the effect that this is going to give us. I hope you can see this. Okay, so this is the effect that this is going to give us, like this now. But I want it to be full, so I'm going to be like maybe doubling this or tripling it. So I'll just place this on it like this and then place it like this. Remember, if this were to be an actual design and I want it to be really to be full, it's supposed to come from the front like this, and then I'm going to sew it from the front. I'll place it like this, then sew it from the front through the shoulder all the way to the back. That is how it's supposed to be normally. But because I want to manage this fabric and I want it to still be full so that we appreciate the effects very well, so I'm ignoring the back now. I'm just going to be using just the front. So I'm going to be placing it from the front like this. So which means what I have here, this long that I have here now, I'm going to be folding them on top of each other so that I can have like 3 layers of this. Okay, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and to as like I said again, what you can do to even enhance the fullness again is for you to pleat it a bit. So you're going to be pleating it like this. If you pleat it, it will help it. But before I even start anything, you know it's organza, and I don't want to lose everything that I have already here. I'll take it to the machine now and sew it on top so that they can hold it in place for me before I start to work with it. Okay, so like I was saying, I want to hold the edge. You can see I've sewn a bit, so you can see that they are all together now. The organza keeps shifting, so I don't want to lose them. That's why I want to use my stitches to hold them together. So I'm just placing them together now, and then I'm going to be sewing it at the tip, at the edge here. So I'm using a pink thread so that we can see the seam lines that I have. But if you are doing this yourself, you should use a matching thread. So you can see my stitches will hold it together for me, so I'll be able to play around it as much as possible once they are together. So now I'm just sewing them together. That is basically what I'm doing before I can decide on how I'm going to be placing it, so that because I want it to be really full, I want us to appreciate the beauty. That's why I'm even considering just doing it in front. So I'll just sew it to the end like this. So I've held it together now. You can see I've sewn it. See my pink thread here. So I've sewn it together. It's easier for me to work with now. I'm sure that it's not, because it's very, you know how organza is. So I had to just hold it together like that. I've removed my pin. So like we were saying earlier, if I'm to put this now, this is 2 yards of organza. So I'll just sew it from here. Okay, like this. I'm going to sew it down like this, and then I'm going to use my trimming to cover up these rough edges. So whatever trimming that you have, you just use it to cover up the rough edges that you have there. But for me, because of this tutorial, I'm just using 2 yards of organza, so this is everything I have. That's why I said for us to appreciate the beauty and see the real full effect, I'm just going to be folding this into 2 or even into 4, so that it can be full a bit. It's not so full, it's not like what you have in the tutorial. What you have in the tutorial, you may need to use up to 10 to 20 yards of organza, like I said. But this is 2 yards of organza, so if I fold it into 4, I'll have something like this. So I'll take it to the mannequin so that we can see what it's going to look like now. Oh, yeah. She's playing. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now we're on the mannequin, and like I said, this everything you see here is 2 yards of organza, so you can see how much organza this is going to consume. So depending on where you want to place it, let's say I'm using just one, it's just going to give me something like this. And we can see that this is not so full like what we have in the picture. So ideally you should have your flange running from here to here, then another one will also come from the down part also all the way to the upper part like this. But I just want to show us how what effect that the fullness is going to give us. So to do that now, I'm going to be folding this into like 4, then I'm going to use it for just one side of the front. So this is folded into 2 now, and then I'm going to fold it again into 4, then I'll hold it with a pin. So I folded this into 4, and then I'm going to be placing it on the front like this, and you can see what this is going to look like. Okay, so this is it now, and this is still 4. I'll pin it properly, don't worry. This is still 4, and you can see that it's still giving us this. So I've gone to sew the 4 together so that it will be easier for me to control. So now you can see, placing it from upper part down to the lower part, you can see that it is full a bit, but it can still be fuller, because the beauty of this flounce is actually the fullness of the flounce. So now this is what we have, and this is 2 yards of fabric. And remember that it is still supposed to go all the way, it's supposed to run to the back for each of the 2 sides. So you can imagine the amount of fabric you'll be needing for this, because this fullness is still not even okay. It can be fuller than this. So let's say we'll fold it into like 8, and then we'll place it, we'll have something like this. So this is more like it, and this is 2 yards. So you can use as much as 20 to 30 yards of organza if you really want to achieve that beautiful fullness. So after sewing it to your organza like this is what you have. You're just going to place your trimming on top of this so that it can conceal these rough edges for you, because I'll not really advise that you sew it like this and then for it to fall back, so that it won't be. You can do that, you can sew it like this and then you maybe hand stitch or tack it so that it can fall back, but I just feel so that it can relax well, you just need to sew it like this. You can see it's relaxing well on its own. When you sew it like this, you just take your trimming and then use it to cover up these edges. Okay, so I just pinned this tiny trimming to it so that you can see how you're going to use it to cover your edges. So when you're doing yours, you should use a bigger trimming that will cover it well for you, just like what we have in the thumbnail. And you can see how beautiful the flounce is looking. This is it on this side, and it's a beautiful with 4 layers that we combine together. So if you want really full effect, you know what to do. You just need to keep piling the layers of the organza together so that you can have something really full. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed the tutorial, let us know in the comment section. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.